regarding comfort with the mat, this is probably one of the best parts of that tent. The mattress is very wide, very warm. I never felt cold at all coming from the ground, which is a fantastic advantage. In fact, the mat was virtually warm almost all the way around the entire surface of the mat, which is very good. The other thing is very comfortable mat, and what it allows you to do is as well, because the mat is in a liner, in a sense, it's in its own pocket. It doesn't move, and that is, for me, that is a great feature, because in a tent your mats tend to slide down within the tent itself, which means that you end up being squashed towards the bottom of it or whatever. It just generally moves quite a bit, and then even you moving around, it makes quite a lot of noise. The mat surface of the mat generally quite slippery as well, especially with your sleeping bag on it. That is, to me, a common problem where you just really struggle to kind of keep in position. Well, with that, because the mat is fully enclosed and you sleep with nothing on, and the actual fabric there, so that's the liner, and that is it's kind of rubbery almost, so it's quite grippy, and sleeping in that just felt fabulous. You are in a bedroom, and it's all fully attached, all kind of like keeping together, and again, very good this. So in terms of the inner tent itself, it does get wet, obviously, because you breathe out into that tent, and there is some ventilation, as you can see there. There is a mesh panel, and you can feel the ventilation easily. Now, obviously, like every single tent, basically, when it's cold, even with good ventilation, you always get a condensation. So there was condensation. There is not an amazing amount because it didn't actually drop on my face, so that is good. One of the problem that you have is when you get too much condensation, it starts dropping on your sleeping bag, on your face, and you get wet, and it's just miserable. On this occasion, I obviously didn't have the problem at all, which really was quite nice. You got the hood on. You basically zip this up here, and then this is the second zip here. So as the temperature warms, and actually already very warm in here, it warms within literally probably 1 minute. As the temperature warms up in here, what you want to do is, obviously that is closed completely, and you want to open that zip here to give it the ventilation that it requires. Obviously, the more you open, the colder it gets, the more ventilation you get. So it's a bit of a trade-off between temperature and moisture, like it always is in any tents. The nice thing is, as you can see in here, there's no condensation at all. It's all dry. Maybe the only bit where I had a tiny bit of condensation was probably towards the end of the tent, maybe at the back end there, maybe slightly on the sides as well. So the nice thing about it is I was able to store all my equipment in here. So I got my DSLR, my camera, whatever. My camera was absolutely completely wet. It was covered in condensation when I got in the tent last night, and I left it overnight, and it just dried completely itself. So that is fabulous. That is amazing, because if my camera had been wet this morning in the wind, it would have literally all frozen up. So I don't mind a wet camera, but a camera which is frozen you can't use, because frozen buttons and everything else. So really is a good advantage there. I've got my drone as well, Mavic in here. Again, nice to keep the electronic equipment, particularly the drone, warm, because keeping the batteries warm will help me fly in these freezing temperatures, assuming the wind is not too strong. So I was able to keep my phone and all that sort of electronic equipment warm. I was able to keep my gloves and all my layers in the sleep system, which obviously is big enough for you to allow storage on either side. There, so my down jacket is in there, so you can put a lot of stuff around, which is very good. And the vast majority of it is almost perfectly dry now. maybe slightly damp, but compared to what it was last night, is a very, very good improvement.